Off the Top Rope Easter night, there's no limit to how this episode is a not miss. She's taking it all to the limit in wrestling. So, the sky is the limit. Shimmer wrestling champion Zoey Skye is live on the ropes. There's no limit to greatness. It's Zoey Skye. She's live with your boy, Ty Asbury.
The Ropes Media. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Every chance you get to hear us, you clear us. It's the time on the radio. My opinion's my opinion. Every time you hear me now moving out, they're on the stereo. Every podcast live.
It's Sunday night, and you know what's going down. Off the Top Rope is live. I'm your boy, Ty Asbury. And I got to say, if the Easter Bunny is making a hop over to Off the Top Rope, you should make a hop over as well to this episode, because my live guest, of course, the sky is the limit. The Shimmer wrestling champion, Zoey Skye, is in the house tonight. Zoey, what's up?
Hey man, how's it going? I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to it. As long as the stream holds up pretty well, we're good to go. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, like I said, I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for wanting to do the show. And first and foremost, I definitely did my research. I want to say happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, a couple days passed. We're past it now. Over it. I'm just celebrating a birthday and wrestling anniversary, 15 years. So it's a good month, a very good month for me.
Well, I definitely want to say, of course, from the ropes, this is what we do. Definitely want to make guests happy. So I want to pull up this first clip and show you that here on the show is, of course, the ropes had to help you out and hook you up because you did a show, of course, with Mission Pro Wrestling last night. So we definitely wanted to send some love your way and help you out because we know you had a big event last night. So in which I want to talk to you about that during the show, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. But first things we were talking about during the show, you said, you're busy traveling here, traveling there, defending your belt. Like how do you sleep? How much sleep do you get?
Man, first of all, let me say thank you for sponsoring that show, that event thing for me on the event. That's definitely appreciated, never expected, but especially for a show like that, that's for a fundraiser, for a purpose, that extra money that can go to help somebody else, having a sponsor to support me is always great. But very little sleep this weekend, as a matter of fact. I work a job during the week. Pandemic made me get a real job, so to speak. But it's all right. I enjoy money. I enjoy working. I enjoy having, the luxuries of things whatever I want, whenever I want. So I keep busy with working a job during the week and then wrestling on the weekends. But wrestling is definitely my first choice, if you will. I always put that as priority. Wrestling, work, the gym, and then wherever and whenever I can, I fit in sleep. So whenever it's there, it's there.
With all the stuff you're doing, you're so busy, like work and training for wrestling. For Zoey Skye, what is something that you take if you have the time? What do you do to have relax, like a movie or a book? Like what's something that just eases your mind, when you do have that chance?
Yeah, it's definitely something that is far and few between. At this point, the gym is my most relaxing thing. And it's really not even my downtime, now that the weather's finally getting nice. I am from Northeast Ohio, so the weather, winter weather is always hit and miss, but it's terrible, So for me, I enjoy being outside. Anytime I get a chance to, even if it's just up and down the street or go to a local park or just find some place to walk some trails, I'm always outside enjoying nature. So a nice little stream, a nice little stroll, anything outside just to kind of relax and just listen to the birds and have peace and quiet is definitely my go-to when I have the time.
That's what I'm talking about. And, a lot of, I'm sure, fans that you already have and fans that will watch the show and say, man, she's really awesome. For people who don't know, legendary Zoey Skye, what do you want them to get out of this episode tonight? Because I'm sure you have a big 2022, coming up with, wrestling dates.
Yeah. Legendary is definitely a very strong word. I'm working on some high status. I enjoy what I do. For me personally, 15 years is a long time. Have definitely had highs. I've had definitely had lows. There's a lot that's just kind of it's always there. There's always something on the back of my mind. Am I doing well enough? And if I'm doing well, like, okay, what can I do better? There's always doubts. There's always ambitions. There's always things that I want to add and change and just but sometimes you just have to go with things. I enjoy what I do. Of course, everybody's goal, especially when they first start or just as you go, is to get signed to a contract or to hit WWE. And now there's so many other platforms than just WWE to get signed to just get that exposure, that experience, get that, just to have those eyes on you, so to speak. For me, I just, like I said, I just enjoy what I do. I enjoy having my own schedule. I can take bookings when and where I please. Of course I do, I don't always get the bigger promotions and like the everything that I want, so to speak. But, like I said, I get to kind of pick and choose and I can, if I decide I need to take a break and take a month off or take some time off, I can always do that. I have yet to do that. I've never done that in 15 years besides pandemic time. But if I need the time, I can take the time. And if I want to keep busy, I can keep busy. So it's great. But definitely, the remainder of 2022 off the top of my head is already summer's busy. I've been wrestling a lot with Midget Wrestling Warriors, and they have a very busy schedule. So that's kind of a bit of a priority for me because those guys just keep me busy, So I'm just enjoying the travels, enjoying the sights and scenery. As we just mentioned, I was just down in San Antonio for Mission Pro this weekend, so the very minimal downtime that I had, I at least got a chance to go check out the Alamo and go to the river walk and just relax for even if it was just 2 hours, 2 hours to kind of chill and realize that what I'm doing is great to be in front of fans, but it's also great for me because I have those moments where I can get those little vacations and get those experiences in places that I may not have gotten otherwise.
Now, Zoe, of course, you talked about being, in Texas for Mission Pro Wrestling, and I'm sure, I mean, it was probably just like a stop through and then, had to move on and go to where your next destination is to, get the W in wrestling. But it being Easter, we all had Easter dinner. I mean, I'm a foodie, so I'm going to ask you, did you have any food in Texas that was really good? Because, I've always wanted to go there. That's if you were there that long.
Yeah, I'm sure if I made more time, I could have found more time. Definitely these weekends, they're always, get in, come in for work and get out. It's a very busy schedule. I got in relatively late on Friday late evening, overnight really. By the time I got up Saturday, like I said, there was a quick minute to go check out the scenery and stuff, and then it was down to business. We were at the venue early, taking care of business, taking care of all the things that we need to worry about doing before a show, and then the show itself. We did get a chance to go out to eat afterward, but I'm a very particularly picky eater. So for me, I keep things simple. I just go to what I like. But for those who love food and barbecues and just authentic Mexican and just a mix of anything, definitely Texas is a place to go to enjoy some different eateries.
I'm very proud, first and foremost, to have you on the show, but celebrating 15 years in the business. And if you look at, has it really hit you yet that like you may be like traveling or just having time yourself walking down a trail, like, damn, like it's been 15 years. Has it hit you already yet, or it's like you've been doing this like so long?
It's hard to believe that it's been that long, to be honest. You sit there and do the math. That's the only reason I would have known any better. I've been around a lot of the same friends and acquaintances through wrestling since day one, and it's great to have those, that camaraderie that we have. But it's also great to just meet and experience different people and personalities, in locker rooms and at shows. But yeah, it's very crazy. Like to think 15 years ago what I was doing compared to now, and even before that, like how I was even going to get into wrestling. I would have never saw myself here. It's great to feel like I can be, like just a role model for some, and even to myself. I as weird as it may sound, like in a sense, like I look up to myself because this person I am in front of a camera and in front of a big audience was never who I was. So for me to be able to like kind of open up my shell and kind of get out there is just making me realize like where I was, who I was, and who I've become. And it makes me want to just kind of, keep pushing myself and my comfort zone and just get out of that and show people that, if you want something, you can achieve it. I'm very small in stature. People always tell me, oh, you look so much bigger in the pictures. And on the video I saw, you look so much bigger than you are. And I'm very small, but for the fact that I can go out there and make people think that I'm this big character and this big over the top person. Like it's great to know that I can connect with people. And for me, that keeps me wanting to go and continue doing it. Like I said, 15 years is just 15 years. I mean, it's great. It's a number, but it's what I'm doing in this time it's not the years, it's what I'm doing to build up to now and in the future. So hopefully 15 years has been successful in other people's eyes. But for me, like I said, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm proud of myself, and it's a great experience for me.
Preach, sister, preach, because you, like I said, you definitely preaching it up and letting everybody know what's up, especially to wrestlers who want to get into business. Like, wrestlers, any aspiring wrestlers are watching the show. This is the lady to to get the education from, the one and the only Zoey Skye. And Zoey, of course, now that you brought the fact that you being like your stature, like it's like shorter stature in wrestling. Now, I was actually at Heart Legacy's showdown, in Elmira, New York. So I'm in the area, and I watched your match, and when I saw you come out, I was like, damn, she's jacked. Like when I saw you, I was like, man, she got some guns on her. But that match, and we'll talk about that later, I enjoyed, and just the fact that you were so positive and just really keeping it real, because you had that mentality. It's like 15 years, yeah, I've been doing this, but it could all end tomorrow. And that's how I think, with how crazy the world is, you have to like think positive and just go for you winning all the belts you can, and because you never know when it can disappear.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But thank you, I appreciate it. Like I said, we'll talk more on that. But yeah, it's one of those things where I've always been somebody that I never let my size determine and dictate who and what I've done. And I've always felt that other people shouldn't feel that way. Whether it be a small guy, a small girl, or a large guy or a large girl, you shouldn't let the way you look and the way you feel dictate what you do. You should always strive to be something more than what you are. And if you have goals, aim for them. And not everybody can accomplish everything, but if you don't try, how do you succeed?
You really brought up a good point. You said when you were first starting out, it was kind of hard for you to break out of that shell. And I'm really interested in what was that shell that you were trying to get out of, and it had to be like an ongoing process in wrestling. Like what shell was that? Because I'm sure every talent is different and something they kind of have struggled with within their career.
Sure. For me, I've always been very athletic. I love sports. I did everything that I possibly could, and growing up and in school and stuff. If there was a sport, I played it, and if I couldn't play on a team, I played with my friends in the backyard. I was always on the go, always outside. I was the tomboy. I was running around doing everything, but I was very shy, very quiet. I kept to myself. Even on those sports teams, I didn't have friends. I went to practice and went home. I had my few friends that I was close to, my next door neighbors and such, so to speak. But, when it came to school, I tried to just hide and blend in. I still don't, I really don't like attention. I don't like the focus being on me. I'm very socially awkward. I just have a high anxiety. But wrestling definitely, obviously, it had to change that that outlook on things. You're standing in front of sometimes only maybe 50 to 100 people. When I first started, it wasn't very large crowds, and there's still times now where that happens. But there's times where you're in front of hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. You don't have a choice but to kind of forget that that's a scary thing for you personally, and break out of that shell. And if nothing else, you just find something to focus on to kind of forget how incredibly anxious that can make you. Even when I first started, going to training was nerve-wracking and scary. Even months in, I was still nervous to accommodate my friends to shows. And if I went to a show, I even now still I go off to a corner and I sit on my own. And it's not that I'm antisocial, it's not that I don't want to make friends. It's just it's my personality, it's who I am. I just as easily can get up and talk to somebody when I see, when I kind of read the room and see how people are and such. But for me, it's just always kind of, I sit back and I watch and I observe and I kind of get my comfort before I jump out in front of, a large group of people, I guess, So with wrestling, it's definitely got me out of my shell a lot, obviously not entirely, but way more than I ever could have been. And because of that, I'm definitely thankful for wrestling for helping me get out of that discomfort of who I was.
Well, I better people watching the show live. You better know who you are because you better hop from the dessert table to the dinner table and watch Off the Top Rope right now on Easter night because my live guest is Zoey Skye. And always, as I do it on the rope, if you want to ask her a question, send a comment. I'll be definitely blessed to share it on the air. She can answer all your questions because Zoey Skye is in the house as we partied up Easter night here on Off the Top Rope. And Zoey, the thing about it, you've been doing this for 15 years, and you said it at the top of the show, there's so many promotions. It was always like WWE was the only, big league in town, but you got AEW, Impact, on and on and on. And it's like, how would you describe wrestling today having so many promotions? Like, it must be a good feeling for you because it's like a buffet. There's so many choices that you can go to now.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for the people coming in now. I don't regret anything about when I started, the time, the era, I guess, so to speak, as to when I came in. When I first came in, started training in the Ohio area, especially in my area, there was very, very few girls. Jessica Havoc and Sassy Stephanie were like the two closest females in the area. And then even in Ohio, besides that, there were very few others, as well as like the Western Pennsylvania area. But now Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Columbus, like the tri-state area of the Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, even down to like West Virginia, like just the amount of females and just wrestlers in general. But it's always the idea of how many females started compared to how many girls I see on shows now, how many all women shows there are on a fairly consistent basis, not even including Shimmer. It's crazy to see. It's great to see how well wrestling has expanded since I started. Um, it's great because I feel like I mentioned, before, I'm not content with where I am by any means, but I don't hate where I am. But it's great to see that, these guys and girls coming in now, and even those with experience like I have opportunities still in their grasp. It's not, maybe not easy to get signed, but you have opportunities. They're there. You just have to put the effort in for yourself, get out of those comfort zones, and things can happen. And if you want to travel and you want to wrestle across the United States and throughout the world, it's definitely something that's, at least from what I've noticed, easier to make happen now. It's easy to kind of connect and use social media and just like all your methods of just everything combined that can really help people just get out and branch out. Even if you are a shy person that's just kind of there in their own shell, it's easy to kind of be seen and picked and chosen, kind of find your way into a spotlight. So I think it's a great time in wrestling. It's a great opportunity for anybody coming in the business, no matter what their position is. If you're a wrestler, you're a manager, a valet, a referee, if it, even, ring announcers and backstage interviewers and such are getting so many opportunities that stuff, nobody even cared about that 10 years ago. Commentators are now, traveling for big shows everywhere. This is stuff that people weren't taking the initiative to put and invest in their product, and now they are. So it's just, again, there's just so many opportunities that it's great to see. I love seeing people succeed. So to see how much wrestling is succeeding and people are getting opportunities makes it even better.
You actually, it's really cool because you just answered the question I was about to ask you, like, what was the difference from wrestling back then to when you started till now? And I think you answered it. It's like, it's more opportunities now with wrestling kind of starting to get bigger again. You even said announcers, commentators, backstage interviewers. So you pretty much answered my question. It seems like more opportunities, then till now.
Yeah. I would say I'll add to that. Just the, when I first started, I trained with all guys. There were very few girls. Intergender wrestling was pretty it was gaining its momentum. It was kind of there as I was coming up, but it really started gaining momentum. In the late 2000s, early 2010 to probably 2015. It's obviously still a thing now, but even now it's still not as much because there are so many females now. So females can branch out. We don't just need to wrestle the guys to get ourselves out there because there aren't girls. Now there are talented, athletic females that take the time and effort that are trained properly, not just thrown into matches. The differences, I could literally go on with the differences of then and now, in all positive ways for forever. But yeah, there's just so much that could go on and on that I really think that if people were to sit back and watch old shows of old promotions that they enjoyed and different people, and just to see how they grew, you can see how wrestling grew through that as well. It's very, very rewarding to see how much things have changed.
One thing I really liked wrestling is doing. I see a lot of indie promotions doing it. Is the intergender matches. I've seen a lot of really really good ones. And do you see as we move forward into later years down the road, can you see that getting bigger and bigger? Maybe the bigger promotions really taking that on.
It's hard to say. Obviously, I can't speak for those people in those positions. Um, I definitely don't see it going away by any means. I think it's here to stay. Maybe not, and I feel as though, and again, not in a bad way. It is starting to die down a little bit in the sense of what it was when within the first 10 years, I guess, maybe 8 to 10 years of when I started. It's died down a bit again because of how many females are out there in the United States alone, let alone Canada and overseas and everywhere else. Like there are so many females now that we don't have to wrestle the guys to get booked on a show. We don't have to get thrown into a mixed tag match just to get a spot on a card. We have women's shows. We have multiple women's matches per card. I go to shows now where there are just as many, if not more, women's matches than men's matches. And those girls can hold their own because we train, we put the effort in, and we want to show that we do belong and deserve to have the opportunities we have. But I definitely think that the intergender isn't going to disappear, and I'm completely okay with that. I don't care who I wrestle when I wrestle. As long as you're trained and we're equal part of the locker room, then why not do it? But I definitely, it's hard to say. I guess we will all find out what and how things are going to change. I definitely don't see myself potentially getting signed to a company where they would want to see me in an intergender match, again, because of my size and stature. But that doesn't happen everywhere. You have larger girls or smaller guys that can kind of make matchups work and make more sense, but that won't happen with me per se. But I definitely can still see intergender wrestling continuing to be a big role in wrestling.
Now, so we're going to take the show and we're going to play, match it up with this. So it's going to be like a pretty much something like Mission Pro Wrestling is going to be a clip. So when I say something goes with the clip, first thing that comes to mind, just feel free to say what you got to say. The first one is, of course, Mission Pro Wrestling, because you had a busy night at this event. So you was in a four-way match. I was like, man, outside yourself, it was some talented ladies in there. I mean, you have, of course, like it was a four-way match between, we had Holiday, and then we had you. And it was, we had Brittany Blake up in the house. So it was a fatal four-way match. So, I mean, yours truly, you were up there as well. Now, when you look at Mission Pro, you was there last night for your fatal four-way, like that promotion is just booming. I mean, Thunder Rosa at the helm, like Mission Pro, like you probably still got like some adrenaline after that event. I mean, that's one of the top promotions for, the ladies.
Yeah, so they're still very new. But to be asked, this is my second time back with Mission Pro. When they brought me back, when they brought me in the first time, I was excited. Hey, a women's promotion that I'm getting to be a part of, and like you mentioned, like it's a big promotion. So to get the opportunity for a place that's trying to build and focus around women, everything is woman ran. Obviously Thunder Rosa, it's her company, but everybody backstage, everybody helping to do so many of the odds and ends things, it's 99% female. I want to say 100%, but obviously like guys, are just that everybody wants to pitch in so that, guys and girls are helping out, but it's a women's promotion. It's for women by women to help us just expand and grow. And it's great to see where it's going. I have nothing but respect for them. Even if they decided not to bring me back, I wouldn't be mad. I'm glad to see where they're going. But as for that fatal four-way, initially it was a triple threat match. It was supposed to be myself, Brittany Blake, the debuting Brittany Blake, and Jasmine Allure in a triple threat. Jasmine was a former champion, but some things changed, of course, card subject to change as always. And it became a title match, and we threw in Holiday for a fatal four-way. Again, some things changed, and the match became a bit of a weird stipulation where it was tag in and tag out rules, but we weren't a tag team, so you could tag anybody in at any time. Holiday is a very big girl. So walking into that situation where I'm wrestling two girls that are closer to my size, and then we have a big Holiday and the champion at that. So, the biggest of the group, so the hardest one to have to take out, is the champion. But it's one of those things where you come in knowing what the company is offering, what the company is trying to provide out there. They're on Match Network. They have great women's matches. They even have guys on the show. They have a great atmosphere. The crowd loves being there. And to have that on top of knowing that you're in a high profile matchup, just like you mentioned, it's just the adrenaline, just that rush of man, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to go out there and give them my all because that's what everybody is here for. And of course, to walk out with the championship wouldn't hurt me any, but, we can't win them all, I guess. But, it's definitely a great experience all around. Even the busy travel, the busy time from the holiday weekend, everything combined is just it's a lot to deal with. But once now that I'm home and I have a moment to sit and process, it was a great weekend. And I'm glad that it was successful for Mission Pro. I felt like it was successful for me. And I just feel like things are just going to keep building for everybody involved.
Now, you said they wouldn't bring you back, but if I had to bet some Texas barbecue on it, I'm pretty sure they'll bring you back. So, I'm sure you put in.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure you put in the work. So now this next clip we're going to take back to, over all the years you've been doing a wonderful, wonderful job in the ring. So right here we have some matches you've had in your career. So I went old school with these. So if you can look at each match you've had, the three up there, what's the first thing that comes to mind for each match that you had that's up here on the graphic?
Man, I'm glad you can remember some of these. Definitely wrestling Jocelyn Navarro is always, when she first started, I believe I had her first match. She's not a big girl. She's probably about my height, maybe a little bit taller. But she has a lot of spunk and a lot of attitude, and just she has an in-ring persona that people can get behind, and she has a go-to mentality. She's coming in for a fight, and she's ready to give it all. Anytime I get a chance to be in a title opportunity, it's great. But it's definitely I would say probably a challenge. It would probably be the best way to throw a word out there for Jocelyn. Anytime we're in the ring together, it's a challenge. That three-way elimination, I don't recall. 2018, my mind's a little jumbled from years and years of being hit in the head. But I will say, I don't know if I have one word, but to be in the match with Katie Arquette and London Ali, who has since changed her name to Promise Braxton, I believe, was definitely. I don't want to use the word challenge again, but it's an experience. Both of those girls were younger. I want to say London was still fairly new. So it's a challenge in a different way, if that makes sense. But it's something that, you get a different aspect of how things work. A triple threat match compared to, just a regular title match are two completely different things. So that aspect of just a different dynamic just makes for a different kind of challenge. And in wrestling Brian Convell, any chance I get, which usually happens at Mega, is just I again, not necessarily one word, but a great experience. I love stepping in the ring with him. He's definitely somebody who brings the best out of me. So if anything, I guess I'll give him that. He brings the best out of me. It's not one word, but it's something. So there's that one as well.
You could take it up a notch and go more than one word. So I appreciate it.
Good, because I did.
Now, like I said, we got two more clips left. And of course, the biggest one of all, you being the champion, Shimmer Wrestling, which is definitely that's booming as well. And being in the business for so long, there's nothing wrong when you got the gold over your shoulder. So this question will be, of course, who would you want to wrestle, defend the title against in 2022? Maybe somebody you haven't wrestled before, or somebody you may see out there is like, man, like I could have a great match with this person. If there's somebody that's on your radar.
I don't know that I have anybody particularly. This question gets asked a lot, and it's not that I don't respect anybody particularly or just like anybody in particular. I want everybody. I want to have great matchups with everybody. I want to experience. I want to wrestle new girls, veterans. I want to wrestle girls who are veterans who haven't wrestled before, young girls. It doesn't matter to me. But I definitely feel like with the way things have changed since I first started with Shimmer until now having the championship, and I mean this by all means in a good way. With girls being released, it's always a bummer. But to now have girls with the status that they've had prior to being signed to big companies and now coming back on the indies to get a chance to have a title match with a Mia Yim or an Ember Moon, these girls who are back right back into the indies like they never left, throwing out great matches with anybody and everybody is just fantastic. So, I guess it's kind of an easy go-to, but one of those two girls immediately pops into my head. But like I said, for me, anybody at Shimmer, especially with where I am, it took so long to get into the company. They were running shows when I first started, and I was never someone to reach out to try and get myself booked on shows. I was always nervous. Again, my social anxiety was there, and I didn't reach out. I waited for somebody to reach out to me, which always hurt me. But I was able to keep busy, thankfully. But had I reached out way sooner, I could have had experiences with wrestling some of these, Japanese girls that were here, some of these other girls that, in a different stature. I got to wrestle a Mia Yim before, Shimmer, before I was in Shimmer. So I got to wrestle some of these girls elsewhere, but I feel like that kind of platform would have made completely different for me between the times of then and now. So I definitely feel like, again, I'll step in the ring with anybody, but to get an opportunity like that, now having a title with these girls coming back and kind of having to kind of restart, but also like just show that they're coming back to reclaim their own. I take those challenges. I would definitely wrestle any of those girls.
Well, we're all definitely looking forward to your next title defense. And when the show wraps up, I want to ask you, who are you wrestling next? Because, me being a fan myself, we all want to know. And of course, another promotion that's really building themselves, from Canada. And I actually attended their last show back in Elmira, New York, of course. This graphic, I'm sorry you were laid out in the ring. I was like, man, she's going to kill me for this. But Art Legacy Wrestle Showdown, March 26th, you were there. And they're starting to really come up too. So I figured, I wanted to ask you about this event because I watched this match. And I thought it was a really, really good match. And Heart Legacy, they're a promotion to watch out for.
I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. And so coming into this show, I was booked through Midget Wrestling Warriors as one of their two special matches on the card. So I wasn't even necessarily booked for Heart Legacy, but it was under the banner of Heart Legacy, under the banner of Midget Wrestling Warriors. So by default, I was booked on the Heart Legacy show, which was a great experience. My first time in Elmira, my first time in that venue, my first time with this company. I have wrestled Danica before. I have wrestled for Midget Wrestling Warriors before, but this whole everything else about it was different. I'm looking forward to being back. I will say that. I do know that the Midget Wrestling Warriors are back in Elmira. But as of right now, I don't know where my position sits with still continuing to wrestle for Heart Legacy. However, I do think that I've at least put enough of a promising outlook out there that I could potentially be looked forward to coming back potentially in the future. But again, it never hurts to mention that you want to see me come back, and promoters always take that into consideration as well.
Well, like I said, my studios are based here. I'm actually 20 minutes from Elmira, so I'd love to see you come back. So, but definitely, I want to see that happen as well. So now, of course, Zoey, here on the off the top rope, I always got to stalk my guest, and I do a segment. So, you ready for the segment and the question?
All right, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Damn, Ty. That's good.
All right, so of course, the tagline tonight is, the sky is the limit, which is because nobody wants to go to the limit with Zoey Skye. That's not going to happen. So, using the word, you get a chance to create your own pay per view. Using the word limit, what would the name of the pay per view be using that word?
Oh, that's a good one. You do have me stumped. Lemon drops. Why not? I don't know what else would happen from it, but something but lemon drops. So that's a good. It doesn't matter. It's a good time.
Well, I'm glad because you are the few guests where you got it just like that. Some have had to go on Twitter and say, "Ty, I got to think about it and post it." So you definitely get an A+ for that. So answer that so quickly. So I really appreciate that for answering that. So I'm glad you like that.
You got lucky. My brain was kind of rolling.
Now, Zoey, this episode of Off the Top Rope has been awesome. Of course, like I said, everybody, the sky is the limit with Zoey Skye. And Zoey, I want to ask you, of course, we know you got a busy schedule coming up. You are the champion. So what is up next for the one and the only Zoey Skye?
Yeah, so definitely slows down a little bit in May. I have CZW this coming weekend in New Jersey. And then I'm at Mega Championship Wrestling on the 30th of this month in Elyria, Ohio. And then my May slows down. I stay pretty local, a couple more Mega Championship Wrestling shows. And I'm at Revenge Pro for a debut in Erie, Pennsylvania. And then I'm back to wrestling for a bunch of the Midget Wrestling Warrior shows. So I'll actually be back in Elmira June 4th, I believe it is. So yeah, hey, so we'll be back there with the midgets this time. So it'll be a great time. So yeah, we'll be back local to you. But yeah, I'm keeping busy. I'm trying to keep my website updated. So check out shopzoeyskye.com. And of course, obviously my social media, I always post the flyers, match cards, whatever I have coming up. Sometimes I can't keep it in my own head. It's always in my calendar on my phone, but I always post stuff as stuff is coming up. So if anybody wants to follow me, you can find me on social media and check out where I'm going to be.
She broke it down as breaking down as can be. And I want to ask you, like I said, since I stumped you, I hope I won't get a clothesline well up because I did stump you pretty good. So
you did stump me good, but I'll let it slide this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're asking Ty, why was the sky the limit on Off the Top Rope tonight? Because this lady right here, she is the Shimmer Wrestling champion, the one, the only, 15 years doing it. We want to wish her a happy birthday as well, and being in the wrestling business for 15 freaking years. Zoey Skye was live on Off the Top Rope tonight. And Zoey, I got to say thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Most importantly, God bless and stay safe. And like I said, kick 16 years, kick its ass.
Hey man, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Of course, the kind words are always appreciated. Let's make sure we do this again sometime. Make sure we won't spread out and take too much time to think about next time. We'll just make it happen. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It is definitely much appreciated. Now, last question of all, from 1 to 10, would you ever come back on Off the Top Rope again?
I just said, let's do it. Yeah, 10. Let's do it. Whenever you're ready, let's do it. And we'll make sure we get lots of fans to interact with us. We'll make sure we make it a good time.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, my live guest tonight here on Off the Top Rope, Zoey Skye. Zoey, have a great rest of Easter holiday, and always come back here on Off the Top Rope.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.
You too. This is your boy Ty Asbury. Have a great rest of your holiday. Off the Top Rope Sunday night. We're out of here. God bless. Love yourself. Peace out.
The Ropes Media.